I'm going to talk about runaway lovers, or, as I like to call them, hit and run lovers. Now this can be men or women, but mostly it's men. And I've heard this story many times over the years. A woman comes in and says, wow, we were so great. He pursued me, he wanted me, he was interested in me. I held off. Finally, we made love. It was so sweet. Everything was great. And then it went great for a week or a month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. And then all of a sudden, he got distant. He got cold. I asked him about it. We talked about it. Maybe we got through it, but then it happened again. And then all of a sudden, he's breaking up with me, and I don't know what to do. He's gone. I asked him what it is, and if he talks to me, he says, well, I just don't feel the same. I don't feel the same anymore. I go, let's go into therapy. And he goes, no, I don't want to go into therapy. I know how I feel. I have my story, and that's it. And the story is she doesn't love him anymore. She's not the right person. If you're a guy who's done this, you know how it feels. You want somebody, you want her a lot, you pursue her, you romance her, you try to please her. You claim her and you have a hot love affair. And then you wake up one day and you go, oh my God, I don't like her very much right now. And you'll have a conversation, or you'll have an argument, and then you'll have a story that you tell yourself about how she's not the right one, or there's another person who's more beautiful. And then wham, you talk yourself into leaving, and then you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to go into therapy, you don't even want to think about it. You become a hit and run lover. And if you're a woman, you have suffered from the hit and run lover, from the runaway lover. Now, I admit, I've learned this in every way that a person can learn it. I learned it when I was young, and a woman one morning looked at me and started talking to me about runaway lovers, of which apparently I was at that moment. I was that when Becky and I used to argue with each other in the 70s and early 80s, I began to notice that when we argued, when she was naked, she'd look like a plucked chicken. And then when we resolved it and we got back to love, she was gorgeous. That plucked chicken gorgeous dichotomy was a favorite story when I used to teach assertion training and stuff, and I've already told this story once when I talked about assertion training. But it really struck me what was going on. I was entering a state of consciousness where she became a lot less attractive, and then I had some story about her being a lot less attractive. And that made me want to withdraw. But I knew enough in those days, I had had enough experience, I'd had my ass kicked enough in the relationship arena, that I had to go back, I had to do the work, and if we needed it, we had to get help. And after a while, I would find her beautiful and adorable again. And after a while, we learned how to do this reliably with each other. But many people don't know how to do this. Now, hit and run lovers can happen in various flavors. Now here's the worst flavor of hit and run lover. The worst favorite of hit and run lover is a narcissist. Narcissist is somebody who has shallow relationships. I'm talking about a guy now, but it could be a woman. Really invested in looking good, really invested in everything being great, really invested in being a great lover and a great person and having a beautiful woman on his arm, and so on and so on and so on. Can't stand dealing with interior pain. Can't stand dealing with any kind of problem that he might have. Can't stand the idea that he might have some flaw in him that causes him to enter states of consciousness where he behaves badly. Specifically with women, make some kind of negative judgment about them and take off, hit and run. If somebody is a deeply narcissistic person, they'll make that decision and they'll take off, and that they won't come back. You'll call them and you'll email them and you'll say, let's process. They might even come into therapy, but they will stick to their negative story. Their negative story about you don't love them, you're not perfect enough, you're something. But really what that story is there's something in them that changed. They changed their state of consciousness where they went into some kind of withdrawal, fear response, and they don't want to face that. And they don't want to consider that they might have the false belief that you were great, then they found out that you weren't, And they don't want to consider that you not being great might be a false belief that they can change. That idea of change is terrifying to them because if they have to change, that means they're not perfect the way they are. Now, most people, thank God, are not pure narcissists. Many of us have narcissistic traits. Why? Because we're complex human beings that have the seeds of almost every kind of human condition in us. So we all have joy and transcendence and brilliance and stupidity and anxiety and depression, all that stuff. And we have narcissism, we have borderline traits, we have all that kind of stuff. And so a guy will be in that state of pursuit. Men like to pursue, they like to claim the beautiful partner. And they'll have that romantic infatuation where they're excited and they're intoxicated and so on. And then there'll be a problem of some sort that'll happen. Sometimes they'll talk through several layers of problems. But then a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, there'll be a problem where they'll feel a certain kind of bad. And they just don't want to consider that that bad feeling they feel associated with the relationship might have to do more with them than with their partner. And a cue for me as a therapist is when a guy comes in with a woman that he was into a month ago or a week ago or yesterday and not into now, and she wants to work on it. She wants to change whatever it is in her that is making things difficult, and he goes, nope, I have my negative story, I am sticking to it. Then I know I got a runaway lover on my hands. Now, don't despair if you're a guy who's a runaway lover type. Just know that you are going to desire someone, you are going to pursue her, you're going to claim her, you're going to feel like everything is going to be great for the rest of your life. And then at some point you're going to think, she's not the right person. I don't feel the way I feel. I'm not as hot. I'm not as in love. There's this other woman I'm really interested in. Maybe I should pursue her. You're going to hit that. It'll be very confusing, it'll be very distressing, and you're going to want to make it somebody else's fault. Now, if you go and break up with your lover and go and leave her and pursue other people and so on, you're in the same cycle. And you can be in that cycle for the rest of your life. And we see people in the media that do this all the time. We see Hugh Hefner do it, and we see Donald Trump do it. We see lots and lots and lots and lots of people do it. And okay, you can do that if you want, but if you want a relationship that goes to that other level of depth, remember, the deeper we go, the more satisfying it gets, but the deeper we go, the more we have to work at being balanced, being in harmony, and being attuned to make it work. If you want to go there, you have to consider when you enter that new state where things are confusing and you're distressed and you have that bad story, that I need some help working through this and finding what the true story is. And the true story will be some variant of, there's a certain level of intimacy that I'm uncomfortable with, but I want intimacy. And so rather than deal with that discomfort with a woman that is willing to deal with me, you got to have a woman who's willing to deal with you. If you have a woman that, and women and ladies, if you're someone who, when a guy does this, you just want to tell him what an asshole he is, and you want to attack him and make it all his fault, that's not going to work either. But if you're willing to go, okay, we're hitting the pattern, he has his part, I have my part, let's work on it, let's find a way back to love. In my 5-star system, remember, erotic polarity, maintaining physical, psychological health, able and willing to get back to love, the 3rd star. Being a superior parent, having deep purpose. Able and willing to get back to love. If I'm willing to do that, do what it takes, look at my part. And guys, if you're willing to do your part, do what it takes. Find out whatever it is. Hold on to yourself, work with her until you begin to feel that intimacy, begin to feel that arousal, that turn-on feeling again. And then go deeper and deeper into it. But as a wiser person, as a more self-aware person, as someone that knows that you enter these states where the other person looks like a plucked chicken, but you can work with them and work with yourself, and then they're beautiful again. If you know that you can get through that cycle and get back to love, everything changes. Now, one of the signs of runaway lovers is they'll want to marry you within the first 6 months. That's why, because unconsciously they know, I know it's going to go to hell unconsciously, and so I want to get married fast before it goes to hell, with this magical thinking that, wow, if I get married fast, then it's not going to go to hell, I'm not going to go into that place. This is also true for people that don't leave, but would just act badly, go into fits where they see their partner is awful, and instead of leaving them, want to attack. They'll want to get married fast sometimes too. Why? somehow magically, if we get married, I'm not going to do that mode of attack, attack, attack. Well, you know what? Getting married is not a magic solution to those habits. If you're a runaway lover, you're going to go into your runaway lover, hit and run lover mode. And if you're lucky enough to have chosen a woman who's willing to hold on to herself and look at herself and work on her part of it and help you with your part of it, you can get through that to the other side. And what's on the other side? What's on the other side is more depth of connection, more sense of acceptance of self, because you don't secretly know that you have this flaw that causes you to screw up every relationship. You know, I have this thing that happens, but I can do something with it that doesn't hurt another person and doesn't cause me to lose an important relationship. And if you're a woman that has a hit and run lover, all you can do is invite him to work on it. Know that it's not just you, that it's him. And if you're willing to work on it and he's not, there's not much you can do about it. Invite him into therapy with some therapist that you both trust. And realize that this pattern is something that is very, very deeply ingrained in many, 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 many men. And so, if it happens, don't panic. Keep a hold of yourself. Invite him to work on it. And have faith that if you both work on it, you can get back to love. And when you get back to love, you're a little deeper, you're a little wiser, and you're a little stronger. So that's what the deal is with hit and run lovers, with runaway lovers. And that's what to do about them, and that's how to think about them. It's not the end of the world, very unpleasant, and we just go about our business enjoying each other, and if that happens, we address it, and we invite our partner to address it with us.